Hello, hello, hello. We are back again. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday. If you're catching this now, if you're coming in and watching this after the fact, stay sick with Kit. We are back again with another live. We've got a few lovely ladies calling in, seeing where they're at in their dating and relationship lives, addressing some things that we like to address on this channel. Um, and and yeah, it's getting hot here in London, and when the sun comes out, the summery wear comes out, and people like to party. And yeah, I've had a couple of chats with some women recently on the podcast about some situations they've been in. And when the sun comes out, it seems like all of the things that we've learned just goes out the window because we just care about having a good time, which I get. But how are you? First, how are you? What's your dating situation like? Where you at? And yeah, I'm gonna give it 30 seconds just to give a couple of people coming in now into the chat. If you are joining us, welcome. Happy Sunday. We're here with another live dating audit. And today's audit is, why don't my dates lead anywhere? So many people are out here dating, but it's not actually going anywhere. Some people, it's fully intentional. Some people are just wanting more and it's not happening. So yeah, let's get our first guest on, and we're gonna have some fun. Alba, welcome.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you today?
Amazing. Enjoying the weather.
I know you're here in the UK with me. We are loving this heat. We're loving this sun. We appreciate it. We love it. Well, listen, but thank you for coming on. So I want to jump straight in. So tell us your age, what you do, and what you get. What's something that you're not getting from your love life that you want to get?
Well, I'm 29.
Okay.
I am currently full-time model,
Okay.
and I actually have to say that my love life recently has been great. I
We love
found
that.
an amazing guy, but that's been after loads and loads and loads of failures.
Okay,
So I feel
interesting.
you when you say this kind of thing that this dating life is hard.
Yeah, it's the streets are a bit crazy. They can be a bit crazy.
Indeed.
So you said you found, is this recent that you found a great guy? Found a great relationship?
We started meeting in August, but like we kind of became more official in January. So pretty recent, to be honest. Yeah, not even a year. We know each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. And is what made this situation different to like all the previous ones where it didn't go down the way you wanted it to?
His willingness for commitment, for communicating,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think these two would be the biggest values of
Okay.
our kind of, yeah, honesty as well, but yeah, like his willingness to commit to something bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a guy more willing to commit. It's interesting because there are more guys looking for a relationship out there than I think women realize. But a lot of the time, those guys either get looked over, they get passed over. Maybe women don't know how to recognize. So, did you get to a point where you knew how to recognize a guy who was genuinely looking for something serious?
No,
No, you just kind of
absolutely
lucked
no.
out.
It was literally because with him, it's been just by coincidence. We met each other through a dating app,
Okay.
and we were definitely not texting each other much. Like he went for holidays in August, then we were not in contact for a while. And I don't even remember how it happened, but we ended up having a coffee one day after a long time not meeting.
Yeah.
Um, and there you go. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like, yeah.
And I'm guessing you guys are in an official relationship together.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And And how did that come? Who asked who? How did that come about? Because I think there are a lot
He
many
asked me.
women in this situationship where they're like they don't know where it's going or what's happening. How did it happen for
Yeah.
you?
So I guess as well because of my past relationships, this time in a way I wanted to be fully on my feminine.
Hmm.
And I had the need in a way to be asked in a way, but not that necessarily the man is the one that needs to ask the woman. Do you know what I mean? But
Mm,
in this specific moment, in my process as well of kind of healing and connecting with my femininity,
mm,
I really wanted in a way that to happen, but I was not even rushing it. And it just happened in our first trip. We went to Venice this January, and one of the days he asked me if we became official. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And is there something, outside of, him being intentionally consistent, wanted to get into a committed relationship, is there something different with him? Like, what is it about him that made you choose him compared to like the previous guys before?
Um, Definitely, like, obviously, one of the things is love for sure, and
Mm,
attraction. That's 100%. But that's been as well in my past relationships. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have been there.
mm,
But the fact that he wanted to be unconditional and completely honest with his feelings all the time,
mm.
that made a huge difference. Like, we communicate a lot. Even if we need to discuss a situation for several days, we do so because it's important. We don't leave things between us that can harm us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And were there any things you were looking out for now that your previous experiences were like, okay, I need to look out for this in case this happens again?
Um, yes, in a way as well. Like, I think it's important to be in the right moment in life for it to happen. Like, you need to be in the same kind of energetical vibration situation. Like, you really need to be in the same moment. And I think I have not had this in my previous relationships. So that was really what I yeah.
Okay, so you kind of is it that you felt with the previous guys, the timing was off, as in you both weren't in
We
the
were in
space?
different moments of our lives. Like, my ex boy, like the one, so my ex, the latest ex, he lives so far away. Like, he lives in Bermuda, so that
Oh
didn't
wow.
work because of distance. And
Yeah.
then my previous one, we are 5 years apart, he being younger than me. So I guess by then the age made a big impact in our
Yeah.
relationship. So
And
definitely we were not like in the right moment.
yeah, of course. And if you don't mind me asking, how old is your man? How old is he now?
He's 29, I'm 29. We are
Ah,
vibrating
same
the
age.
same age. Yes.
Okay, okay. And I said, if you want to bring something to conversation, something you want to talk about or ask, what's let me put the floor to you. What's something that you want to discuss today?
um Maybe about all the craziness that is out there. Like, like, if you're in a dating app, you surely want to date. Like, if you want just to, like, meet girls, or boys or whatever it is, and just be with them for one night or whatever, that's easy to be done on a night out. Like, if you are in a dating app and you are as well, like, making clear you want something serious,
Mm.
why then you have all this self-doubt within yourself, and you are never willing to kind of commit or actually looking for it? It's so crazy how people is like with this duality that they really want it, but do actually they want it? It's crazy.
I hear that. Do you think it's really easy for guys to just go out on a night out and have a one night stand?
I think so.
You think it's easy?
I think so.
No. Mm-mm.
No.
No,
Okay, give me
definitely
your
not.
insights, give me your insights.
Well, it's easy for women it's easy for women to get sex. We know that, right? So if a woman wants to go out and have a one night stand, she can.
So technically, you are telling me here that just lesbians get kind of quick sex because just women get, like, it's easier for women to get sex.
It's easier for women to get sex from men.
Okay.
Like
So you
if
think that, like, if a woman kind of make clear that she wants sex, the man straight away goes.
if an attractive woman walked down the street and she put her hand
Yeah.
up and she was like, "Who wants to have sex with me tonight?" 7 out of 10 guys would be like, "Yeah, I'm down
Okay.
for sure."
Okay. Okay.
Like like guys are really they can be ready for it for sure, right? Women are the gatekeepers for physical intimacy, but most guys really do struggle out here. Like they're not out here going, and And with the whole awareness of like sexual harassment and a guy not wanting to come across as a creep, it's much easier for him to resort to dating apps to meet women rather than trying to meet women in real life. Because in real
Mhm.
life, there's a risk of him getting it wrong. There's a risk of him being embarrassed. There's a risk of him being accused, depending on the woman, depending if she likes the approach or not, if she finds him attractive or not. And so a lot of guys resort to dating apps. And, there's a lot of um, common rhetoric of women being like, why don't guys approach anymore? And, a big reason is because a lot of guys, well, they basically feel it's just not safe to.
Okay.
But most guys can't just go out there and have a one night stand. So imagine if you're a person who, you know, imagine if you're not looking for a relationship, right? You're not in a
Mhm.
place where you want a relationship, but you're a human being, you have needs, right? And
Yeah.
some people are open to something casual. If you can't get it going out, or like there's much higher risk, you have to pay for that. Like guys have to pay to get into clubs, and if they talk to a girl, he's gonna have to buy her a drink. Like the cost of trying to do that and then choosing a girl who is down to just kind of go back with you that night. It's not impossible because it does happen,
Yeah.
but it's much more rarer amongst for guys to do that. Some guys do that for sure, but it's like if they have a lot of money and they're very attractive, it's kind of easy to kind of, pull that kind of woman. But most guys just aren't that guy. Do you know what I mean? So then where else are they gonna go? Dating apps.
Yeah, man, but don't put in your profile you want a long-term relationship. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
there's loads of them that they do that, and that's where I'm coming from. Like, fair enough. I'm the first one. I use the dating app as well just to have sex.
Mm.
A, like a night out or whatever, same kind of thing, but through the app.
Yeah.
Fine. But like, once you really want something else and you put it even in your profile, and like even the conversation you engage with is kind of wanting something else, but then you meet face to face and then it's too much, like it's not, it's like these fears come. And I really like, obviously now again my situation changed, but I'm as well thinking out there for my sisters that they are still dating, for my
Mm.
friends here in England, they are
Yeah.
struggling, man. And I would love to have the insight of a guy, like what is the fear, why this happens so often.
I hear that. So let's start with something that you mentioned is that a guy you'll match with a guy on a dating app, you'll be talking, it seems like you're in alignment in terms of what you're both looking for,
Yeah,
and then he meets with you, and then what, you've noticed like a shift of energy, shift of intention. Is that what you've noticed in your experience?
I had several experiences where I met like gorgeous guys, and till today I cannot say even nothing wrong about them, but
Mm.
um is the thing that we kind of vibrated so well in the first date, we kind of had such a great time, great conversations. um Again, they most likely made clear that they wanted like a long-term relationship or like something more serious they were looking for. And then I had a lot of situations, and again my friends too, like where the guy, once they realized like you could be like girlfriend material, like you're like, you can, everything vibrates so well, then they step back, like they are scared of something, like the conversation changed, they even verbalize that they are actually now unsure, like everything is going so well, they don't know. So
Mm.
why? And this happens so often.
Sure. So my question is, do you in your experience have you noticed this shift happen like at the end of the first date? Is it after a few dates? Is it like from the moment you meet them, like you feel like a shift? Like where have you noticed this shift happen the most common?
I would say it depends, like in
Okay.
my personal experience. Sometimes after a first date, sometimes after 2 or 3 days, like enough time for you to meet in person and kind of vibrate with the person, but obviously not long enough to super connect as a proper relationship or anything.
Yeah.
And I would say same for my friends kind of thing, like after maybe dating 3 times, 4 times tops, then is when the guy starts to, oh, hold on, this is becoming serious. I'm not sure about this, you know?
Mm. And how, if you don't mind me asking, how old are your friends? How old are they?
Um,
Like what
Two
age
of
range?
my friends are like 1 year and 2 years older. Other friends are like 2 years younger. Like same kind of range of age. Yeah.
Okay, so somewhere between like 27 to like 32, 33.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so a couple of things come to mind. So the first thing is that if a guy is saying it's too much, like if it's too much too soon, sometimes, because, and I understand it, a lot of the times women can feel this pressure if they, especially if they get to around that 29, 30 age, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's women can often feel a pressure of, I'm about to get into my 30s. I'm not in a relationship. And especially if they want marriage and kids, there's this element of pressure that they feel with time, right? So then what can happen is they then get to a place where they're like, okay, I'm not dealing with any time wasters. I'm going all in or nothing. And I'm only going to take from a guy who's the same, right? Which the
Yeah.
principle is right. But what can happen, it can mean that within the first few dates, it means that, and this is quite often,
Okay.
it can feel that the dates don't feel like dates. It feels like an interview because she's looking for a man to fill that spot in her life. So it's like, what do you do? Where do you want to live? What's your plan for the next 5, 10 years? Do you want kids within the next few years? Like, this can happen quite often. And if I'm being honest, between, with friends of mine that I've talked with in terms of dating, we've all had the experience of, if we've dated a woman kind of between the age of like 28 to like 33,
Mm-hmm.
because some women I've dated have been older than me, some younger, etc. There's been a correlation between her age being in that range and to how quickly she wants things to progress,
Okay.
right? In terms of like the commitment, like the emotional commitment, emotional security, etc. And that energy can scare guys off.
Mm-hmm.
And for two reasons it can scare a guy off. One, it can scare a guy off because it feels like she's asking for the level of commitment that you would get in month 3 in hour 3.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because all the things, like if a woman's like, hey, we text every day, we're talking about what we want, we're talking about, you're starting to talk about things of the future. It's not like guys don't want that. Of course they do, but he has to get to a level where he's invested enough to want to have those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's not invested enough, it seems too much. And so sometimes that can be it.
Okay.
Um, the other thing is that a guy can be open to a relationship, but he can also be open to something casual. So it's like, okay,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, I'm open to having a relationship if I find that person, but I'm also open to having fun with someone I find attractive and finds me attractive, but we're just not compatible for what we want or what we're looking
Mm-hmm.
for.
Mm-hmm.
So when a guy meets with a woman, he may be open for a relationship, but that doesn't mean that he is definitely dating with the intention of getting to a relationship, because that really depends on the woman.
No, for sure. Like
Do you
that's
know what I mean?
100%. You don't want to be in a relationship with whoever.
Of
Like that's
course.
sure. You need to connect.
Yeah. But what I mean is a guy can be like, "Oh, I'm open to having a relationship." He then meets a woman, and after a few dates, he goes, "Okay, she's attractive. I find her attractive. We have chemistry, but actually the kind of partner I'm looking for, we're just not in alignment in that
Maybe it's
sense."
not. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So then what can happen is that then he stops dating her seriously, right? Or he starts to see it as a more casual situation,
Mm-hmm.
but then that isn't communicated. And
That's the
she
problem.
thinks
That's
it's
the
still.
problem.
So here's what I would say, right? Because it wouldn't be fair for him. to assume that she is open to something casual. That wouldn't be fair for him to assume that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also not fair for the woman to assume that a guy is definitely dating with the intention of getting into a relationship if that discussion hasn't been made with her.
Mm.
Because a guy can be casually seeing 2 or 3 women, but then seriously dating one woman. And then when he gets into a relationship, he kind of ends things with those other women.
Mm-hmm.
And it's often where I think something that a lot of time women don't realize about guys is sometimes we'll see online, like maybe a woman will be like, oh, he's not texting me. He's not consistent. He like replies to me like 4 or 5 days later. Like, don't men, know how to, treat a woman and, be a good partner and stuff. The truth is most men know he's just not giving her that treatment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what I think really, like, even,
Mm,
but this is not just men to women, it's like vice versa.
mm,
Like it reached a point where people is so fed up of dating,
mm.
like so fed up of putting the effort into the conversation or putting the effort into um as you said, like treating someone the way they deserve or like treating them well. And again, that's vice versa from both sides.
Yeah.
the the conversation are just so fucking boring, like so plain. Everything is so plain. So hello, how are you? Like my friends sometimes show me conversation. I was like, man, block him. Like I don't want to talk with someone like that. That's boring, man. Like,
But has she met with him though? She should meet with him before blocking him, surely.
oh, I don't know if I will spend my time with someone that just say hello, how are you, and not bring any more conversation into it. It's like it's crazy, but like literally to find someone that puts the effort in a conversation, it's already so hard.
I get that. Well, isn't it better to make that assessment after you've met them though? Because some people, and I say this, and this is a biased perspective, right? But
Mm,
I'm not a big texter. Like I'm the kind of person where I'll be like, if we've matched, let's go for a coffee this weekend and see if there's a vibe here. Do you know what I
100%.
mean?
100%. Like face to face is the way you fully understand people's energy. I
Mm,
100% say that. Because even in my current relationship, like our texting wasn't the best. Like we were not each other's favorites in that way, kind of thing.
yeah,
But once we met, then we matched so well our energies.
yeah.
So I 100% agree with that statement. However, like it reaches a point where like you are having 10 guys, potentially good looking as well, texting
Hmm.
you. Are you gonna spend the time when we are already so freaking busy in London to meet 10 guys to see if any of them is gonna bring you a better conversation than texting? Man, that's hard, and which one are you gonna pick? That's hard.
So how did you pick? Because you picked.
Yeah, no, again, we till today we don't know how things end up by,
Things just
yeah,
aligned, the
we just
stars just
end
aligned for
up
you.
meeting for a coffee and everything happened. But like, because if I think about our situation, like
Mm.
by texting was not like he went on holidays. Obviously he was not texting me every day because fair enough, he was having fun. Same my side, it was summer, and but we end up at the end meeting. I don't know how it happened, to be honest. Don't ask me that. Don't
Yeah.
know.
Listen, sometimes for some people it just happens. And
it,
and,
it
that, and that's the beautiful thing. Do you have your friends coming to you asking you, how they can find their equivalent because you found yours?
Not because of that, because we ask each other all the time, but we like I was part of the group of being fed up of dating apps, of the loving life. I was so
Mm,
fed up. Something I realized as well, by traveling, because I love traveling and I lived in different sides of the world, like before, and I find London is so individualistic. Like everyone cares of themselves and that's
mm,
it. Like you go to other countries, like I'm a Latin person, I'm Spanish by the way, so
Mm,
I'm already way warmer than people here, you know.
mm,
So like for me the coldness to understand how people relate in here, this individualism was already hard. But imagine if
mm,
you travel to like a South American country or like the Caribbean or even an African country, like people is so warm, and the
warm.
way they relate like men to women is just, it's just so flowy, so easy. Like you go on a night out and you can end up meeting someone great, you
Very
know.
true. Very
In here
true.
it's so hard, so hard.
What do you think is the major difference? Why do you think it's like that in those kind of places? Because I completely agree with you, and you're absolutely right. Like in metropolitan major cities, when I'm talking like London, New York, Sydney, LA, it's very much kind of how it is here in London, right? What do you think the major difference is between those places where it seems easier to meet people in real life and people are more open to connection, compared to this individualistic society and culture we're currently in?
I would say, obviously, I might be wrong, but that's my opinion. I would
Mm.
say we are always on the doing and never on the being. Like when you are
Mm.
connected with nature, when you are on holidays in these kind of warm, nice countries, you are so in the moment. You are just
Mm.
enjoying having a drink with someone. Whereas in
Mm.
here, if you think the dating life, like we are all about productivity and individualism, right? So like even the way of dating, like it's not about going out or you find someone attractive and you even approach and you find that like it's a normal thing to do. You just
Mm.
think, oh, how many things I can do to get a guy, right? Let me download Tinder, let me download Hinge, let me um text to 10 guys, let me, like, it's the doing still, it's not the being.
Mm.
So I think that that plays a big part of it.
I completely agree in terms of the doing not being. The one thing I will ask though, it seems that when we go away, like when people, even people from like big metropolitan cities where it is very individualistic, when they go to a different culture and space, they tend to be more open to connection. Like we tend to be like when we enter a different environment where, like you said, when you're on holiday, you're just being like you just tend to be more open to meeting people, to connecting with people, to discovering things like in real life. So it's not that people don't have it in them, but it's like for some reason in this
Mm,
environment, people just don't do it. But we could if we wanted to.
mm. I
We
agree, you know,
we could if we wanted to.
I agree.
Um, what do you think is what is what's the major obstacle you think when it comes to dating men? What do you think is the major obstacle that you said like your friends are kind of dealing with right now that they're struggling to get over?
It's hard. Um, because there's different ones, right? But um, I would highlight kind of two. One, we already spoke about it, like would be like having this kind of engaging conversations, like having a nice conversation to actually say, I want to spend time of my life with this person, even if it's just to meet for a coffee, but I want to actually invest in it.
Yeah.
That's hard because I find that people don't put the effort in it,
Mm,
and it's hard to discern which kind of would be the potential good guy to go out and have a coffee with. um and then I would say, um it's it's hard to meet someone that is at your level of consciousness or at the level of the way you see things in real life.
I hear that, but expand. What do you mean?
um so like for example, like I am not the same person as I was like 3 4 years ago. So as well, it might be me why these kind of relationships, like I'm not saying this kind of didn't work with my exes because of them. It was like a mutual thing, so obviously I was way more immature. So nowadays
Mm,
I think I gain in consciousness and skills to communicate, to perhaps acknowledge that I've got traumas, and it can, like, in certain situations they can be triggered, and that's why I feel attacked and I kind of answer in a bad way, but then I kind of sit down and see and say, no, that's not the way, right? So that is the kind of thing I mean by consciousness. Like, not maybe everyone is in the same level, looking for peace and being in an harmony kind of relationship. Not
Yeah.
everyone is looking for that or is at that stage in life.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
Mm,
I think it can be hard to find those people if you're not looking in those places.
correct.
So I think a lot of the time it's like if you're someone you go, "Oh, creativity like is very attractive to me," but
Mm,
you work in corporate, none of your environments are around creative people. So if you're like, okay, a level of awareness and a high level of consciousness is what is attractive, is what I'm looking for, but you're not in those environments where those people are going to be. Because once you're in those environments, it's easy to find that.
yeah.
But I think sometimes because we have this illusion of abundance with these dating apps and social media, it's like, okay, well, I just have to look hard enough. And that's when we get burnt out. Because it's like you said, you're messaging 10, 12 guys. Like, how are you going to go on a date with all of them? Do you know what I
Impossible.
mean? Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
What since kind of you've found this guy, because before your current relationship, when was your last relationship before that?
Like, we end up things 6 months before I met my current guy.
Was it a relationship or was it like a
It was
situationship?
kind of, it was kind of a relationship, yeah. I mean, we never had the moment of asking each other, do you want to be my girlfriend, boyfriend? But like, we were exclusive with each other, and we were even planning Ada, because as I mentioned, he is from Bermuda. So um
Oh yeah,
we were already like planning how we can kind of make it work, which we didn't
yeah.
manage.
What have you what have you learned about being with a man since you found this new relationship?
What I've learned, can you repeat the question? What I've learned?
What have you learned about being with this kind of guy, the kind of guy that you've been looking for, being with a man? Is there anything about being with a man that you've kind of been like, oh wow, that I didn't realize that was important, or I didn't realize men think this?
It's so important. Like, I don't think women in this society, we are, in this society, I mean, London, it could be as well other parts of Europe, but
Yeah,
obviously I live here, I say here.
yeah.
um we are very disconnected with our femininity. I actually had this conversation yesterday with one of my girls
Hmm.
having dinner, because we are we are all about productivity. And again, I am here the highest defender of feminism, and for us to go out there and do whatever we want in life.
Mm.
Now, it's important at the same time to don't disconnect yourself of the being of this femininity energy of creating, of
Mm.
um being vulnerable as well, but vulnerable, not in a not in a way where we lose power, but we gain power by being vulnerable with the correct people, if that makes
Yes,
sense.
100%.
um and I don't know what I was answering now,
No,
but
just
anyway.
what did you notice about being with a man? But I
Oh, yeah,
completely
yeah,
agree with
yeah,
you.
so
Yeah,
that would be it. Like managing to connect more with my femininity and being more vulnerable. I'm still not 100% vulnerable, because
mm.
again, I'm scared. I've got my own traumas. I've been disconnected for a long, long time, I guess. But
Mm.
by, like, I'm going to dance every week now, like, I am managing to be more vulnerable with my partner and express things that before perhaps I wouldn't, and I would just react very like, like a proper
Mm.
Spanish woman. But now I'm trying to be myself and be more vulnerable and allow my femininity to flourish as well, because it's beautiful.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's definitely the case when you're with a good man who's invested in you, when you show that level of vulnerability, that inspires him to take care of you and serve you.
Hmm.
And I think and this is like one of those things where I think many women are afraid to do because they don't know if they can do it with that guy. They don't want to come across as weak. They don't want to give the impression, there's this level of um I guess a level of pride, but that's okay in terms of, oh, I want to show you that I'm a woman who can do this for myself,
Yeah.
right?
And like we as a woman, I yesterday I had this conversation with a Moroccan woman, and it was so important because they as well told me how Moroccan women are very much like, like a bit like Latin women, like very strong character,
Mm,
and you see of the society and things they go through and they don't even speak about it, like sexual abuse or like so many things, and they are
yeah.
kind of covered and they cannot talk, so I think the trauma is being passed through generations, and we as women, we kind of are more reactive, and we are, as you said, proud.
Mm.
We don't want to no one to attack us or to kind of like take our value away, because we are very valid. But the thing is, I think it's very important in a woman's journey to go deep and understand that by being vulnerable with the right people, you're actually gaining power and not losing it. And
A
that's very
hundred
important.
percent. 100%. I think especially since you're in this, relationship and stuff and you're finding that more, I think the more you as a woman are stepping into at least reconnecting with that divine feminine, so to speak, you'll see that kind of effect that has on your relationship and your man, and that just
Indeed,
makes him want to do more for you.
indeed,
Do you know what I mean?
indeed, indeed.
Listen, Alba, appreciate your energy, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, on
Thank
this
you. So
Sunday.
lovely.
If I know you've been a supporter of the content, so we appreciate you. And yeah, we'll speak to you soon. But have
Speak
a
to
great
you soon.
Sunday.
All the best. Happy Sunday. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. 100%, guys. You heard it from her herself. Someone who had been dating, kind of serial dating different guys, things not working out. And then, yes, things may have aligned for her in that sense with a great guy entered her life, which is amazing and beautiful. But yeah, there's an element of courage it takes to be vulnerable and to step into that side of yourself, especially as a woman, especially if you're a modern professional woman who's so used to kind of going after what you want, being very front footed and, being ambitious in your professional life, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's going to serve you. But when it comes to men, if you're looking for the kind of man who's going to do that for the relationship, it's that other side of you that's going to really draw him in. So yeah, no, we love that. Guys, we have another guest about to come on. So let me bring her into the room and let's see what she's got for us. Angie, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
Thanks
So my
for
sound is working well, I hope.
uh, it is. I mean I
Okay,
can
good.
hear you loud and clear, which so then I assume everybody else can hear you loud and clear. Listen, thank you for coming on, sharing your Sunday with us. So I want to jump in. So tell us how old you are, what you do, and what's one thing you're not getting from your love life that you kind of wish that you were.
Okay, so I'm 23 and I work in sort of sales within the finance sector, so in a sort of tax advisory. So it's like a
Okay.
full-on role.
Yeah.
High
Roll and a
chance.
half.
Yeah,
Roll and a
definitely.
half.
And then did you say what's not working, would you
Well,
say?
I was gonna say, what do you want from your love life that you feel you're not getting at the moment?
Um, Success. Yeah.
Just
A little
general
general.
success.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it that you're kind of open to having a relationship with a guy and you're just not finding that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm gonna ask a question like, are you
Of
dating
course.
guys? Are you going out on dates? Are you meeting with guys? Like what's that scene like for you?
Yeah, so I think that might be part of the reason why nothing's really happening is if you're not kind of on the market, how can anything happen? Like if you're not kind of on dating apps. So I used to be really, really against them. So I never had them because I thought it's not for me. But then now I've kind of adopted the attitude of never say never. And sort of about a month or 2 months ago, I downloaded one dating app. And it's okay. I haven't gone on any dates from it. But I think that might be a good idea, potentially.
I hear that. I mean, that's definitely casting your net wider for sure.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be on a dating app to meet people. You can meet people in real life. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I guess like what's your social life like? Like how often you in environments where you can meet new people?
Only really when I'm sort of doing networking events, but that's for work, and that would be my interest, unless I happen to meet someone that I really liked. But mainly it's for work, really. Even though lots of other people don't see it that way, because there are a lot of people there that kind of approach you for other reasons. But I don't
Okay.
like any of them.
Okay. Okay. So basically the main social environments is like the professional networking environments that you're in.
Yeah, because I don't really go out and I don't go on apps. So realistically, I'm not leaving myself many options here.
Many
So I guess it's my
avenues.
fault.
Well, I know, I hear you. I mean, it's I guess it just depends. Like if you say you're ready for that and you're ready to invite that into your life, then stepping into certain environments, no doubt that will come to you. But to be
Yeah.
fair, it's still I think the most common way most married couples meet is still from work. So like what's your workspace environment like? Are there anyone there? I mean, if you're in finance, no doubt there's some successful people around you.
Yeah, true. But it can be quite problematic if you date kind of like a colleague, that can be a bit problematic. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% against it, but it can be a bit dodgy. But this is the thing, right? So I never like kind of meeting strangers. Or for example, if I was out with my friends, I don't really do that so much nowadays. But that's an environment where you get approached a lot, and that's everyone's focus there is that. So you're gonna find those kind of conversations and stuff. But so I actually hate that though, because it's like a cold intro as opposed to like a warmer intro where you have mutual friends, you kind of know who they are first, there's something to talk about, their personality, rather than just hello, I'm interested in you, which I hate, because it's just there's no substance to it. It's like, well, you don't know who I am, so it's just based off nothing.
Well, it's not based off nothing. It's not based off nothing, Angie. What is it based off?
Well, if someone's just seen you and they're just approaching you on a night out, I have never ever experienced that where I've liked it and thought, okay, great, because I just associate that with unserious people.
Sure. Is it? I mean, guessing is it like bars and clubs? I'm guessing you're talking about.
Yeah, or I used to go to like music events and stuff.
Even a
those
music
kind of
event.
settings.
Even a
Yeah.
music event, you'd be like, nah, I'm not. I'm not
No.
open to it.
No.
Really? Why is that?
I think I just didn't like it.
You didn't
I
like
don't know.
okay.
It has to be people that you're kind of friends with and you see, and there's the security of, okay, you've got mutual people first and you kind of know who they are and there's something to talk about, rather than, I don't know, I think it just takes me a bit of time to like someone, and before I like them I wouldn't want to be in a one-on-one situation with them, which means it has,
Right.
for me at the moment, maybe it's lack of maturity or experience in that area, but I don't like it when if it's kind of a stranger.
Yeah.
But
So
you have, yeah. I don't know. What's
yeah.
your opinion on this?
Yeah. No, I completely get you. So it sounds like what I'm hearing is that you want to meet somebody where there's a level of foundation of trust before you open that avenue for them. Because if you've
Yeah,
met someone through friends or if you've met someone through work, etc., that you already know, because there's a level of rapport, if you've met someone through friends, it's kind of they've already been vetted, so to speak.
yeah.
Whereas someone just cold approaching you, you're like, I don't want to give you the avenue because I don't know if I can trust you.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever been in a relationship?
Yeah.
I mean, did you guys meet through school or like how did you guys meet?
We did meet in a night out sort of thing, like a barbecue, and it was a good relationship. Like it was a 2-year one that I grew a lot in. So and we
Nice.
kind of ended on great terms as well.
Yeah.
So that was a couple of years ago, but that was the mutual friend situation. So yes, we met out, but for it to progress, I felt comfortable with him very quickly. So what happened is we met and he met kind of my friends, and they knew each other, few mutual people as well. So there was that kind of vettedness. But
Yeah.
then for some reason, the next few days, I went cycling on a motorway, and I just thought, and then basically I got a bit stuck because I didn't know you can cycle on motorways.
I was gonna say, that sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, so I messaged him for assistance because I had already, I don't know why he just popped in my head, and I messaged him, and it was like a bonding moment over a funny situation. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, we went on more.
The rest is
night
history.
outs. But that's the thing, it's not like one-on-one. The intention is clear from day one. It was kind of like, it was more of a friend approach that then
Yes.
becomes more kind of.
Yeah, no, I get that. So, okay, let's put guys aside for a second. When it comes to like making new female friends, like, have you ever met a female friend like at an event? Like, have you ever met a girl at an event and you'd be like, oh, we actually get on, let's hang out? Has that ever happened?
Not so much, because the same rules apply in that situation as well, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So it might, I'm not saying it's not a me problem, it might be
No,
a
no,
me
no.
how I'm
No, I
seeing
hear
it.
you.
But it's the same for both genders as well. But also the app I downloaded, it was Bumble. There's an option for BFF as well, so I've been using it for that as well.
Okay, and how's
anyone.
that been? What's your experience in that been like?
It's good. Yeah, but I haven't actually, like, I find it hard to go from messaging a random person to actually staying interested, to then invest, like mentally think, okay, yeah, that's gonna go somewhere, and then to actually meet them in person. So I haven't met anyone of either gender for friendship or otherwise in person since downloading it.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah,
I got bored of the app a little bit, and I prefer the in real life
yeah.
mutual
No,
friend approach.
I completely hear that. But it sounds like you're just not in any of those environments where you can meet people, though.
Yeah.
And I guess the question I ask you, and this isn't necessarily bad, because believe it or not, for a lot of guys, a woman who is quite inaccessible is actually quite an attractive quality. It's like every guy wants to be with, the attractive girl that no other guy can really get access to. That's like a
Yeah.
guy's fantasy. So it's actually quite an attractive quality, but it doesn't
They don't
serve
know you
you.
exist.
Right.
That's the problem.
It doesn't serve you if you're at this stage. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess so there's one question I want to ask you before I get to that. I'm sure do you have like male friends? Do you have any male friends at all, like around in your circles?
But my male friends don't last because what I tend to find is, realistically, like if I look at the history of my life, is either, so I've had one male friend where I caught feelings for him, but I've also had, and he didn't like me, and so it took me like about 8 months to give up, which is long, and I think men are usually the ones that do that, but in this case it was me. Yeah, but usually it's the other way around, and then they kind of cut me off after they realize, okay, this is now too painful or too not worth my time. So the friendship dies after the romantic things like gone.
Yeah,
after they realize it's not happening for sure.
Yeah, when he realizes the potential isn't there, he's like, okay, cool, I'm out.
Yeah.
So, but at that point, you would have got to know them to some degree, right? I mean, if they were friends of yours, I'm guessing you liked who he was as a person.
Which ones? As in the ones that I saw platonically, or one that I liked more? Because I knew from day one that I liked or potentially liked that one, but for the others, that, as in people that I've been friends with in the past, I can tell from day one of meeting someone if I will or will not like them.
How can you tell?
I think it's to do with their sort of energy, or but it's weird because I think I've contradicted myself, because earlier I said if I meet a stranger, like it's kind of a no.
Yeah,
because
this
it's a
is what I'm
stranger.
asking.
But Yeah, no, of course. So if we met under a friend setting and I know more about who they are, then I can kind of get a vibe for who they are really. I can't remember what I was saying actually.
What was it about the guy that you were just like, I knew that I was gonna like him? What was
Yeah,
it about him that you were like, that's me. That's a bit of me. That's what I want.
I think it's to do with our sort of mindsets or view on life. Like we had similar ambitions and
Mm,
we had similar opinions, even the kind of speaker people that we'd watch that had certain views or kind of values we shared.
okay. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like you met him and then you got that feeling. It was after you talked to him and got to know about
Yeah.
certain views that
But
you got
that
that
happened
feeling?
very quickly. Because you can, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So with the guys who were actual friend, like who you considered friends, even if they took an interest in you, who
Yeah.
you considered friends, like if you considered them friends, you obviously liked who they were as people, right? Or as a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was it? Why were you not open to it from that side? Because that kind of falls into your, getting to know someone first, building a level of rapport,
Yeah.
and then you're like, okay, once that's happened, then we can provide this avenue. But
Right.
you didn't want to provide an avenue for the guys who did do that. So what was it about? Why do you think you didn't do that then?
Lack of physical attraction. Oh.
Okay. Hey, listen, let's be real. Let's be honest.
I can't see where you've gone. You've disappeared from my screen.
Oh, we can still see you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you, but my friend called me and now everything's disappeared, which is a bit
Oh,
confusing. Okay, we're back.
you're back. We're back. We're back.
We're back.
So we're talking about the guys that she painfully friend zoned, that she wouldn't give a chance to. So literally, you like physical attraction. That was basically what it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of the reasons. But yeah,
What one of
I'll
the
still
reasons?
be friends with someone I'm not attracted to if, they're enjoyable to be around and we share certain values and
Yeah.
we just, same as a female friendship, like I don't need to be physically attracted to them, I guess.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
of
just
course. Yeah. I
me.
would always recommend be friends with people you're not attracted to. I would say that especially as a guy, to be fair.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like you've kind of cornered yourself, Angie.
Really? Okay, how?
I want to be honest with you because I completely get and even resonate with the fact of you're like, I don't want to give an avenue to a guy unless there's some level of rapport.
Yeah.
But and as well as even if a guy's attractive, and correct me if I'm wrong if I say anything that's not right, even
Yeah.
if a guy's attractive, him kind of coming up to you and saying hi in a bar in a coffee shop or something, you're like, I don't know you, so I don't want to provide the avenue anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like at the same time, the guys who you would have a level of rapport of, there's a level of priority for him being attractive for you to also create that avenue.
Yeah, I suppose so. I think if I am somewhat attracted to them, and if I'm not, they'll still follow the same route of like being friends sort of thing, but
Mm.
one will have a potential and one won't.
So
Yeah.
how often has it happened where one has potential?
Very rarely, but at the same time, maybe once a year.
As in like
Twice a
one
year.
guy friend a year, or like what do you mean?
Yeah, like how often do I have like a sort of crush situation or where I
Yeah,
like
like well, how often is it
how
that
often?
where a guy starts off as a friend, but you've kind of seen it as, oh, there's potential here because you've gotten to know him? How often does that happen?
Yeah, I'd say like once a year,
Okay.
which
I feel like it's kind of I feel like once a year, past 3 or 4 years, I feel like that's kind of on the lower end, but stuff could still happen.
yeah.
Stuff could definitely still happen.
Yeah.
If I were gonna ask your friends what your problem with dating is, what would they say
I don't
about
know.
you? Like if they were gonna say about you.
I think you should ask them because I don't know.
No, would
I
they say she's just not open to it? Like, maybe are you actually open to meeting someone? Would they say that she's just too picky? Like, what would they say?
I don't actually know. I think they would
Okay.
potentially say she doesn't like people moving to her on social media, but then she's not going out to meet them, so like it limits the kind of opportunities a lot, I guess. Maybe that's it. Like I'm not really meeting people.
Yeah.
But
Angie, real talk, honestly, you're just not in those environments to meet someone.
yeah.
Like, young, attractive girl, guys are already trying to be friends with you and stuff. Guys are probably approaching you or whatever, but you're just not that open to it. And I'm not saying you're not open to a relationship,
Yeah.
and I completely get you're like, I don't want to give my time and provide space for someone in my life if I don't trust you,
Yeah.
but no risk, no reward.
True. Okay, there's another problem then. So imagine I sort this out and I end up going out there more and just being more sociable and just meeting people, because I do love meeting people.
Yeah.
But it's more so at networking events that I meet people.
Yeah.
But I like hearing about complete range of people's lives, like any gender, age, or whatever. But imagine I do meet people for that purpose, or
Mhm.
like, yeah. And I go out. So a situation that's happened a few times is sometimes I like someone that I'm sort of friends with, but then they don't like me. But my issue is, to what extent does the female have to make the moves or kind of go in that direction? Because the way my mum told me, stop like chasing guys if you like them. They have to chase you, otherwise they don't like you. So to what extent is that true? This is based on like one situation that I
Yeah.
mentioned where I liked
Y-
the friend.
Yeah. Interesting. I so I
Yeah.
I get when women are like, the guy should always chase you,
Yeah.
because essentially the idea is you have the power in the beginning as a woman, and you do generally.
Yeah.
So, but then at the same time, the woman who is not afraid to go after the man she wants often gets the man because no other woman is doing that. And
Interesting. But when
and
do you stop? So imagine you've reached out one time and the
Mhm.
response wasn't as keen, or they were sort of busy. To me, that's like, okay, game over.
I hear
Like,
that. So what's your definition of reaching out? Because sometimes I've talked to women where they'll be like, "Oh, like I clearly showed that I liked him." I'm like, "How did you show?" She'll be like, "I walked in front of him." I was like, "That doesn't mean anything. That
yeah.
doesn't mean how's he gonna know that, right?"
Yeah.
So what when you say you reached out, like what is that for you? What was that?
That could be messaging first, which I think
But
should be
what are you
very
messaging though?
obvious. Sort of starting a conversation, or
Okay.
for example, making a phone call and then saying, okay, but then they don't answer. And then,
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because usually, and guys, this as well,
yeah,
but I think especially most people, like if they're gonna reach out to someone, like someone that they're interested in who they already know, there's usually a guy. So it's like, oh, like I'm reaching out because I need help with this. There's like an external purpose for the reach out,
there's like a cover up reason, but you know what the real
right?
reason is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what the real reason is, but guys, a lot of the time, a lot of guys are not as in tune as women.
Right.
So you're in your head, you're reaching out. You're like, hey, I need help with this shelf in my house. Like, do you mind coming to help?
And you
And for
actually,
you, you're
I need
like,
help with
yeah. So for
many
you, that's
things.
like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm just, I'm clearly reaching out because I like you. And he's like, oh, Angie just needs some help with the shelf. Like, I'll just go help her. Like, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now in regards to a woman chasing a man,
Yeah.
when I say a woman going after a man, that doesn't mean chasing him.
Okay.
It's more about providing that avenue for him to pursue you.
Okay.
So, for example, part of doing that would be like, oh, I need help putting this shelf up, and you've provided a space in which you're alone.
Right. So you're kind of you're creating a scenario where that's an option for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's because there's a masculine way to pursue and there's a feminine way. The
Yeah.
masculine pursues, but the feminine invites.
Okay, that makes sense.
Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
I don't want to sound crude, but it's
Yeah.
even in our biology when it comes to sex. The
That's true.
masculine pursues, the
Yeah.
woman invites,
Yeah, yeah. No,
right?
that's good. That's where it comes from.
So in terms of pursuing this man, you can pursue him, but pursue him in the feminine way.
Right.
So you don't have to be like, hey, bro, can I take you out? You don't have to do that.
I don't think I would say that.
Of course. I'm just being facetious.
But yeah, no, yeah.
So like
Okay.
with this said guy, like at the time, what did you do to try and facilitate? Did you do anything to try and facilitate that, like something more happening?
The thing is, he actually showed a lot of signs that I think what made me quite keen in that situation was I think he was dropping very obvious signs that he was interested, but he actually wasn't, or perhaps changed his mind at some point. But nothing ever happened, which is so weird. It's like he would make kind of promises and then not do them. Like he'd suggest, oh yeah, we should do this, including going on holiday, and would ask about random things like, do you want kids? And things that really suggested that.
Wow.
But then it kind of trailed off. So it's a bit weird. It's weird because we're still actually friends, but like I don't like him anymore, which is
Okay.
but that was so confusing. But it's because of what happens is I think I get very invested if I see like a small sign of they're interested and I think, oh, I actually quite like them, and then I get very invested, maybe a bit too quickly. But then yeah, that's the issue, I think.
Okay, so let's touch a bit deeper on that situation.
Okay.
So what happened? When did you notice the shift in him? Now, what led up to that point? What had just happened? Did you already know you liked him and you started investing in him? Is that what happened?
I think I was interested in him based on hearing that like our kind of views matched and maybe plans for the future in terms of work ambitions and stuff like that, and views. So from early on, I thought I want to get to know this person more. And then he showed interest, and then I became more invested, and I think I was quite obvious in what I was saying. There was probably a bit of flirtation and stuff. I don't know when the switch happened because I think it was very on off.
Okay.
After one point, but it was kind of, I don't know, it was a bit confusing.
Yeah, I get that. So was he very consistent in demonstrating his interest to you, and then at some point it kind of you started getting hot and cold?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then would you say you started getting hot and cold after you started like properly investing in him?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So when you started investing in him, like what did that look like?
I think I can't really remember. I think I was just very on the plans and would probably just joking back. I don't really remember exactly, but what I think it might have been is maybe for him it was the challenge, and then in his eyes he'd seen the challenge as won and then lost interest because it was kind of more of a game potential.
I hear that. How old are you guys at this point?
This was last year.
Okay, so you're both adults. It wasn't
He
like
was
you were...
younger, believe it or not, which is surprising, and I wouldn't normally do that, but I didn't actually know his age.
Okay, like
he
how
kept it hidden, like it was a running joke. I was like, okay, well, tell me right now, and he'd be like, no.
Okay, I get it. I've played that card.
Actually,
Yeah, because half the women I've dated have been older than me before,
Okay.
and if they try and ask, if when they've asked my age early on, I have dodged the question.
Yeah. The thing is, I had already become invested, so at that point, I didn't care anymore. I just thought, okay.
That's why we do it. That's why we don't tell you. Gets to the point where it's
Yeah.
just like it doesn't matter anymore. You're already here. Um. So you say you think that it was a challenge for him until he got the challenge and then it was done. You don't have to
Potentially, yeah.
you don't have to answer this, but I have to ask. Did you guys sleep together?
No, we didn't ever do anything, not even kiss, or which is what is a bit weird. But maybe he respected me enough not to do that. But at the same time, why would he? I don't know. Like, why would he not?
It's interesting. I wish I could see what
Are you trying
happened
to
and
understand his
delve
logic,
into it.
or
The only thing that I can think of is that because you said you guys were like joking about, he's like, do you want kids and all of this stuff and blah blah blah, and then you both realized you liked each other, and then those jokes didn't seem like jokes anymore to him. Because he was like, oh shit, I was joking, like not joking, but he was like, I was
yeah,
just being playful. But now we know we like each other, and she really is talking about kids. And if he's like 20, he's like, whoa, that's scary. Does that make
to be fair,
sense?
I think that would make sense. I think that was just the kids thing was just one conversation, phone call.
Sure.
That was very early on, and we never spoke about it since. So, but maybe it was similar to what you're saying, like fear of commitment kind of thing. But he's moved to my friend that I introduced him to
Like,
recently. I hope he never sees this. This would be embarrassing. But yeah, no.
he doesn't know you're talking about him, so
Yeah,
maybe he doesn't know he's talking. You have to say his name.
he's literally just messaging me right now.
Okay. Oh, if he's like, hey, I'm watching the stream.
That would be
Hilarious.
so funny. But anyway,
You say he's moved to your. How has he moved to your friend? Like, is he asked her out, or what? Are they dating, or what?
no. But I think he likes her, and she told me after, like, oh, he walked her home, and I just found it funny because he's saying a lot of the things that he said to me, he said to her in terms of like, oh, I'll teach you how to do X, Y, Z. That kind of approach of, I know these things about making money or just interesting things that we might not know about. It's like, oh, I'll teach you. It's that dynamic. And it's weird because that's how we started and stuff like that.
Yeah, I hear that. I think in regard, because the original question was about, should you pursue a man? When do you stop, etc.
Yeah.
And I would say, unless he's a guy who's like very much an introvert, unless he's very much an introvert, he's a bit shy, and maybe not shy, just an introvert. Like he's not, like he's very much the kind of guy who isn't as forthcoming.
Yeah.
Unless he's very much that kind of guy. Once you've provided that avenue for him to pursue and he hasn't taken it, once you've done that a few times, then it's like, okay, because usually at that point, especially if it's quite clear, at that point, if a guy's interested in a girl and he wants to get one-on-one time with her and there's opportunity there and he's not taking it, it's just like, okay, you're not looking for the same thing in each other.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think honestly for you, Angie, like it's just getting out there. And I get like it's much nicer to meet people in real life, 100%. But I think you should have more courage to give someone a chance. And the thing is, even if a guy approaches you and let's say you go, okay, I'm gonna give him my number or whatever. Like the first time you meet with him doesn't have to be some dinner where there's like pressure for you to, look a certain way and this is a date and blah blah blah. Literally making it a coffee, low stake, an hour, so you could just get to know each other.
Yeah.
I think that's where you should because I think at the moment you're using the initial meeting part of like meeting someone new. The meeting part, you're applying a lot of, I think there's a lot of pressure that you're applying there, which is why you're like, this is too much because I don't trust you. And I think
Or have interest in you at this point.
Or have interest. But then, like, if you don't know the person, how are you going to have interest in them?
Yeah.
Right. But
It's
then
true.
how can you have interest in them if you don't give yourself the chance to get to know them?
True.
Do you see what I'm
Okay.
saying? But like, you must get like, have you not been? What happens when you get approached by a guy that you find attractive? Like, you look at, you go, oh, like you look good. Like, I like what I see. Even if you don't actually know him, does that not give any level of enticement for you to maybe just go on a coffee with him at all?
This has never happened.
You've never been approached by a guy you find attractive?
I can't, no. Because
Really?
I can visually see, oh, that person's attractive, but I don't feel attracted to them.
But
But
is there not an element
yeah,
of you not feeling attracted to them because you don't know them?
yeah, which is why I only start to find people attractive after I'm in a environment where I'm seeing them on a regular basis, and I'm aware that I'm going to carry on seeing them on a regular basis. So there's that sort of security there where I'm like, oh, this person is one of the people that are in my lives, I'm in my life.
Mm.
And then I kind of discover a bit more about them in a no pressure kind of environment.
Yeah.
So,
When you say the security of this person being in your life, what do you mean by that?
as in, I find comfort in kind of investing, even on a friendship level, with people that I know I'll see on a pretty much daily basis. So that's why, for
Mm.
example, with like female colleagues, I love to like build those kind of friendships there, knowing that I'll see them regularly rather than someone I've met. Like, imagine like even a friend I've met on a dating friend app.
Mhm.
Not that I've ever done that, but with Bumble, I recently like explored that avenue. But it's hard to kind of invest the time to meet one of those people on the weekend when they're not in my life already. Like, I have to make time for it, and it's not someone I'll see very, very regular unless I make it happen and there's no mutual people that we know.
Yeah. The reason I was just asking about the security, because
Yeah.
when you say the security that someone's going to be in your life,
Yeah.
and you're like, that's what makes the investment. It's like, okay, so is it that you want to know that your investment isn't going to waste,
Yeah.
or like,
Yeah.
okay, because you're going
Yeah.
to see this person again regardless. So you're like, okay, well, me investing in you, I'm going to see you, so I know
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be fruitful, me investing in you.
Yeah.
Whereas
For sure.
someone who you have to do that intentionally with, I guess, unless you both do it intentionally, there's no guarantee that there's going to be a next time.
Yeah.
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 Do you when it comes to like a guy asking you out on a date, would you only say yes to the guys that you feel that you are attracted to?
Yes, because otherwise I just feel like I'd be uncomfortable on the date and feel like, why did I accept to do this when it's not really my thing to speak with strangers? It feels like a chore to kind of speak to, if I'm not attracted to them, to a stranger
But
on a
what I
date.
mean is, but not that you don't find them attractive, that you're
Yeah.
not attracted to them, because there's a difference.
Oh yeah. Good that
Because
you stated that
because
difference out.
you can have someone that you're like, oh, I can see that you're attractive. I'm just not attracted to you, maybe because I don't know you yet.
Yeah.
Have you ever had it with a guy where when you first met him, you weren't like, oh, I find you attractive, but then you got to know who he was and then you became attracted to him? Has that happened?
For sure. Like, if there's some people that I've, like, if I picture someone that I've liked, if I saw them in a dating app, I wouldn't swipe on them. But I
Mm,
find them attractive because
yeah.
of other things that aren't physical.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, and I was going to
this
say that
social.
the
Yeah.
irony, that's actually a really good sign because it means you're choosing for the right reasons,
Yeah. I
which is
hope so.
great. Honestly, Angie, I think you just need to have courage to take a bit of a risk, girl.
Okay.
Like if you're saying like you're ready to have a great guy in your life who you can build a level of foundation with and a partnership with, um, the opportunities are there. You just have to kind of step into them. And yeah, like, is there a possibility that you can go on a few dates with a guy and it goes nowhere and it's kind of the investment didn't become the return? Of course.
Yeah. I think
That's
that's
of course
fine
there
though.
is.
I actually don't mind doing that. I think it'd be good life experience. But I'd have to at least be somewhat attracted to them to even go on it, but that's not working.
I'm going to give you a challenge.
Okay, yeah, I like challenges.
Oh, you got your pen.
Yeah,
She's ready,
ready.
guys. She's ready. We love it. Great student. I want you, the next 2 guys who ask you on a date, I want you to go. Whether they have met you through a friend, whether they met you in a bar,
What if I don't like them?
But you don't know them. So how could you like them if you don't know them?
So you're saying if I somewhat find them attractive, then that's the bar of
No.
Well, you're saying
even if you don't find them attractive,
okay,
still go on the date. And the reason I say that isn't because I'm like, oh well, the lazy, super overweight guy who's just really not your type. You give him a chance and you're gonna fall head over heels. That's not what this is about. This is about you entering a space and becoming comfortable in the space that you're not used to.
Okay, fine.
And actually, it's when I say better, it's probably going to be better for you if you do this with guys you're not attracted to, because you remove the states, because you kind of already know that you're probably not going to go there.
Yeah.
And it can become like a friendship. Still be open-minded, because you can surprise yourself.
What about wasting their time? Because I don't want to cause them any pain or just waste of time.
And this is what I was going to say next.
Yeah.
Keep the first date very low stakes.
Yeah.
So keep it a coffee date. So if it's like a guy and he's trying to do the most, and you kind of already know they like, the chance of me liking him is probably quite slim. It's not impossible, because that's why it's good for you to go and be open-minded. But that's why it's good to keep it low stakes. Okay. An hour and a half coffee date is fine, because if he like meets you for an hour and a half and it doesn't go anywhere, he's not going to feel like, oh, I just got used. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can meet people for a day and they can become friends. That happens too. Do you know what I mean?
They hate that because they're like, I got friend zoned.
Oh, he may not be down for that. He may not be down for that. But I've had it where I've met with women before for a day. I've met with a girl for a day and they were great, but for me it just felt they just became a friend.
Yeah.
Really. Okay. And nothing happened. And it was just like, oh, like that's cool. Less guys are probably gonna be the case with less guys, but I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely just I want you to step out of your comfort zone.
Okay.
Because who said it? Will Smith said this. He was like, this is our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And this is where amazing things happen.
Okay.
Comfort zone, growth.
Yeah.
Like you have to step out of it. And if you're good in social and networking situations, I think you should have every bit of confidence in yourself to be able to socialize with someone that you don't know that well, because you have to do it part of your profession, right?
Yeah, I do it all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, and just keep it low stakes. And I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
You'll be good. Listen, Angie, we're gonna leave it there. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. And yeah, if you know to find me, if you want to, make some more progress.
I will. I'll do what you said.
Do it. You got it, girl. I believe in you. Enjoy it. Thank you, Angie.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye. You have to put yourself in environments. You have to put yourself in environments where you can reap the opportunity for what it is that you want. I think sometimes, because we live in a society at the moment where we can get so much instant gratification and we have instant access, sometimes that can do a detriment to our threshold of the amount of intentionality we should have to attract the kind of thing that we want, which is just a really fancy way of kind of saying, if you have a little boy who's kind of given everything that he wants when he asks for it, he's not going to go out and work for the next thing that he wants because he's not used to meeting that threshold. But if we can challenge ourselves to step outside of our comfort zone, look, if you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. Do you know what I mean? And it's not because, and often it's funny, especially with Angie just then, she has the social skills to do what she said that she's not really a fan of, because she does it for her work all the time. So she has the ability there. It's just using that skill in a different environment that's going to serve her, as opposed to serving her boss and serving the company that she works for. And it's funny, yeah, we often do this. Like we're more likely to show up very strongly for our profession, but when it comes to our own, love lives and stuff, because no one's asking or telling us to do anything, we can be less front-footed. But actually, we should be more so, because if you're in an industry where they'd care, then that's great. But the irony is, for most people, their boss would replace them the following day. Do you know what I mean? They're not the ones who's going to be at your bedside when you're ill. They're not the ones who's going to ask you about if you're having a hard day. So if we can have that with our careers and our professions, we should definitely be able to bring that into our love lives, and you'll have more success for it. But guys, thank you for tuning in on this Sunday. For those of you who watched from the beginning to the end, if you're catching this after the show, thank you for watching. Catch us back next week on a Sunday, where we'll have a good couple of guests again. Thank you for the guests coming on today, Albert and Angie, for being vulnerable with us and sharing your stories with us. So guys, I appreciate you. Enjoy your Sunday, and I will see you in the next episode.